I am really shocked by the way some unpatriotic Nigerians have gone on social media, misrepresenting IshowSpeed's visit to Nigeria and using it to project a negative image of their very own country, while attempting to spoil what was a good narrative of a very successful visit. First of all, IshowSpeed never said or implied that Nigeria is smelly. The young man perhaps achieved his most successful stream during his African tour in Nigeria, reaching a milestone of 50 million YouTube subscribers whilst in our dearly beloved country. He is the first black streamer to achieve that milestone, and it occurred in Nigeria, boosted by Nigerian subscribers appreciative of his visit. What these few unpatriotic Nigerians, who have a grudge against their own country, fed by a separatist agenda, have done is take a screenshot of a particular stream where Mr. Darren Jason Watkins Jr. made a face for a few seconds, which he often does all over the world, upon citing something interesting and peculiar. Using that snapshot, they painted a false narrative claiming that Lagos is smelly and that Darren Jason Watkins Jr., aka IshowSpeed, did not enjoy his time there and found nothing interesting or cultural to do. Sadly, their claims have gone wildly viral. In fact, as evidenced by his streams and media coverage, IshowSpeed had perhaps the most eventful moments of his Speed Does Africa tour in Nigeria. Abubakar Malami, a former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation who was in office from November 2015 till May 2023 when the then President Muhammadu Buhari completed his 8 years tenure in office, under which courts of competent jurisdiction granted several detained Nigerians bail, but the Buhari government refused to release them and even rearrested some of them after they had perfected their bail conditions. The then Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, who was saddled with the responsibility of protecting citizens' rights, came out openly and apparently justified the violations of court orders by the then Buhari-led government, and during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, Abubakar Malami frequently defended the actions of the government's refusal to obey court's orders of bail granted to high-profile individuals by asserting that national security and public interest superseded individual rights. Some of the high-profile individuals included Colonel Sambo Dasuki, the former National Security Advisor in the era of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who was held for 4 years from December 2015 to December 2019. Despite being granted bail by at least 4 different Nigerian high courts and the ECOWAS court, he was repeatedly rearrested by the Department of State Services, DSS, immediately after fulfilling bail conditions. Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakaki and his Nigeria military authority has confirmed the death of 5 soldiers and 1 police officer in an ambush launched by terrorists on Monday at Gidan Wagni area of Zamfara state. The incident may be a reminder of incessant cases of high rates of Nigeria losing its soldiers and other security operatives in ambush, especially as observed as a worsening situation in the year 2025, with the ambush of army barracks and killing of the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, by terrorists in large number began as early as January 2025. It may be recalled that in January 2025, terrorists launched an attack on the 149 Battalion in Malam Fatori, Borno State, leading to the killing of over 20 military personnel, including a battalion commander and senior officers. Within the first quarter, a careful review of news reports showed that more than 100 Nigeria soldiers were reportedly killed in the first quarter of 2025 by terrorists, mostly in ambush. In June 2025, terrorists' attacks on 3 army bases in central and northwestern Nigeria resulted in the killing of at least 17 soldiers. And in September 2025, a major ambush on the Baga-Maiduguri road was reported, where at least 40 soldiers were killed and 65 went missing. While in October 2025, at least 4 soldiers were killed in a Boko Haram ambush. Peter Obi, the former Anambra State Governor and last presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the Nigeria 2023 general elections, has insisted that the 3 brothers among the 12 persons that died as a result of fire that engulfed the 25-story building of Great Nigeria Insurance House Plaza at Balogun Market in Lagos Island on Christmas Eve, called for help for days with no emergency response from the government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying, the three siblings, Mr. Stephen Onyeka Omatu aged 40, Mr. Casimir Nabuka Omatu aged 39, and Mr. Collins Kenechukwu Omatu aged 37, for days, sent distressing pleas for help while trapped in the building, yet there were no emergency services to rescue them. Several days passed in the rubble before their bodies were finally recovered, several days of unanswered calls, of a system that failed them at the moment they needed it most. Peter Obi made this statement after attending the burial ceremony of the three siblings held at Uzokwa community in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State on Wednesday, after Lagos State Government through the Office of the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omatoso, in a statement issued on January 1, 2026 stated that as soon as the fire alarm was received on the day, the government deployed teams of first responders to the scene, including the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetoken, for days now has refused to speak or deliberately kept mum after a well-known founder of a private organization, Harrison Gwamnishu, who have been assisting Nigeria security operatives with credible and reliable intelligence information that have led to the killing and arrest of several kidnappers, in a video statement on Saturday revealed the complicit of the Nigeria police force in aiding and trying to cover up a reasonable suspect behind the kidnapping of a couple in the late days of November 2025 at Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State. And the reasonable suspect happened to be the younger brother of the man who was kidnapped alongside his wife, which, the kidnappers only set free the wife after a sting operational ransom money of 20 million nairas was given to the kidnappers, with the reasonable suspect fully aware of all arrangements of the top-secret security plans of Harrison Gwamnishu, but decided to make the sensitive security information public even when his elder brother is still held captive by the kidnappers. The reasonable suspect, in a TikTok video live streaming, admitted that he was actually among the people arrested by soldiers over an issue. The reasonable suspect, refused to state. The reasonable suspect, among others, were handed over to the Nigeria police force for the continuation of investigation and possible prosecution. Harrison Gwamnishu, the founder of a registered private organization assisting the Nigeria security operatives with credible and reliable intelligence information that have led to the killing and arrest of several kidnappers in the West Africa country, especially in the South-South geopolitical zone of Edo and Delta states, in a video statement issued via his verified social media account a few hours ago, has said that the family member and a brother of the kidnapped couple who worked with him and his team to deliver the prepared sting operational 20 million nairas ransom to the kidnappers has been arrested alongside his gang members with guns, but, according to Harrison Gwamnishu, immediately the Nigeria police force noticed that he could vividly recognize the suspect as a brother to the kidnapped couple. The Nigeria police force quickly released the suspect and charged other members of his gang arrested in Auchi to court, even when the kidnapping involving the suspect's brother and wife is generating more reactions after the wife was set free by the kidnappers, while the husband, who is the suspect's brother, is still held in captivity till date by the kidnappers, since both were kidnapped in their home at Avili village in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late days of November 2025. According to Harrison Gwamnishu, before the ransom money was delivered to the kidnappers inside the bush, the kidnappers made a phone call to the arrested and quickly set free suspect to give him the exact location to drop. One of the most talked about Islamic preachers in Nigeria, who have had photographs with people suspected to be terrorists terrorizing villages and communities in the northern part of Nigeria when he visited the suspected terrorists in their camps inside forests on the ground of having peace talk with the armed groups. Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi has described as a terrorist act the United States U.S. military action ordered by President Donald Trump that attacked and killed yet to be ascertained total numbers of ISIS-affiliated Lakurawa terrorists in Sokoto state on Christmas Day. The Islamic cleric called on the people in the villages affected by the U.S. missile strikes on Thursday night to post on social media platforms evidences of damages caused by the U.S. military action. according to Gumi, it is in line with the teachings of Islam for terrorists to be killed, but the killing must be done by people with a clean and holy hands, and not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men. Just recently, stressing that the US involvement in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria will make the country becomes an enemy of its neighbors, a theater of war, because the involvement will attract the real anti-US forces into the West Africa country, and in a manner that looked like mockery. Sheikh Gumi said, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of. While many Nigerians were asleep after the 2025 Christmas celebration, the United States, US warship moved close and took position in the territorial Africa waters, then launched missiles at the dead of the night on Thursday into areas predominantly dominated by the Lakurawa terrorists in the Nigeria northwestern state of Sokoto, with President Donald Trump saying many of the terrorists were killed, but the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS in the West Africa province, is yet to issue a statement over the airstrikes on the Lakurawa camps in Sokoto, the armed group that is affiliated with the Islamic State Sahel province operating in Mali, Niger, and the Nigeria Kebbi and Sokoto states, whose activities are mostly observed in 5 local government areas of Tangasa, Gudu, Alela, Binji, and Salame in Sokoto state. Some residents at Jabo village in the Tambul local government area of Sokoto state posted videos online to indicate that some components used in making the missiles fell on a farmland in the Jabo village. The videos showed a lot of the villagers, mostly younger ones, holding phones with touchlight on, recording the scene of the burning parts of one of the missiles in the farmland, while some took a closer camera angle shot of some of the components that have manufacturing inscriptions, dates and brand labels. The US Africa Command, in a statement a few hours ago, in an effort to challenge and prove wrong the statement of Harrison Gwamnishu, a well-known civilian volunteer assisting Nigeria security operatives with intelligence information that has led to the arrest and killing of suspected kidnappers in gun battle, that Harrison Gwamnishu, was never arrested or charged to court by the Nigeria police force over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed from the 20 million nairas ransom he was contracted to hand over to the kidnappers for the release and rescue of the married couple kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late November 2025. A leading Nigeria social media influencer and human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridakman, on Tuesday night took to his social media pages and presented an apparent questionable court document, probably with malicious intent to manipulate and mislead unsuspecting members of the public in order to malign the character of Harrison Gwamnishu. In the court document presented by Veridakman, the alleged charge serial numbers were covered with a colored ink. No date of court sitting was written on the court document. The document indicated that the alleged 3-count charges were drafted and signed on the 18th of December 2025, a day before Harrison Gwamnishu was asked to go home from the police custody on December 19, 2025, while awaiting. Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete, and some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money, even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears. and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims, and in some cases, the total money paid as ransom are recovered and returned to the victims' families, and the sting operation usually leads to the killing and arrest of the suspect. Barely 1 month after terrorists invaded the Christian school on November 21, 2025 and kidnapped over 230 school children at the St. Mary Catholic Church School in Papri town in Niger State, the Nigeria government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the complete release of all the abducted church school children by the terrorists. According to the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, the terrorists released the kids based on intelligence-driven operations, but some Nigerians who took to the comment sections of the presidential spokesperson on social media said the government should come out clean and tell the public the truth that it paid money as ransom to the terrorists to secure the freedom of the kids, stressing that terrorists don't release kidnapped victims for free. Bayo Onanuga, the presidential spokesperson, had said in a statement he issued and made available yesterday that the remaining 130 school children abducted by terrorists at St. Mary's Catholic School in Papri, Niger State, on November 21st, have now been released. They are expected to arrive in Minna on Monday and rejoin their parents for the Christmas celebration. 100 were released earlier by the terrorists, taking the total of freed students to 230. The freedom of the school children followed a military intelligence-driven operation. Some social media users who are apparently increasing rates of mass shooting leading to mass murder in South Africa recorded another new figure on Sunday early morning in the Bekkersdal town near the southwestern part of Johannesburg in the Gauteng province when about 12 masked unknown gunmen invaded a public drinking, accommodation and relaxation spot known as Tavern, shooting into the pub and shot people as they sight them on the street while fleeing, leading to the killing of 9 persons as confirmed by the local authority, with additional 10 persons sustaining injuries. This occurred less than 3 weeks when gunmen stormed an illegal drinking establishment also known as Shebeen at a hostel in Salisville, west of Pretoria, wherein 12 people were killed, including a 3-year-old child, a 12-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old girl, and in 2024 alone, 26,232 murder cases representing more than 70 people killed per day in South Africa was reported by the South African Police Service, SAPS, and a non-governmental organization, the Democratic Alliance. BC had stated in its report earlier in the year that between January and March 2025, 5,727 people were murdered, representing an average of 62 people killed per day in 2025 first quarter, and 6,985 attempted murders were recorded, 75 per day, 43,007.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.